There was a time when Will Smith ruled Hollywood like a king. Every flick he touched turned into straight up gold at the box office. From Men in Black to The Pursuit of Happiness, he wasn't just a movie star, he was the definition of success, confidence, and family goals. But lately, that shine has started to fade and everyone's talking about it, loud. His flawless image crashed under a mountain of drama, shocking revelations, and confessions that had fans' jaws dropping.
King Joseph filed the lawsuit in California earlier this week, accusing Smith of deliberately grooming him for sexual exploitation.
Over the past few years, Will's rep has taken hit after hit, and social media hasn't given him a second to catch his breath. The spiral started when his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, dropped that bombshell about her entanglement with singer August Alsina, and she said it right on camera. That one word, entanglement, and became the most talked about term in Hollywood overnight.
A violinist is suing Will Smith, claiming retaliation after he alleges that he was fired for reporting sexual harassment while on tour with Smith.
In an instant, Will went from being that cool, unbothered superstar to the internet's favorite meme. And then came the Oscars, the night nobody will ever forget. The world froze as Will stormed onto the stage and smacked Chris Rock, claiming he was defending his wife's honor.
Then, who'd you walk in on? Him and Dwayne Martin. Okay. Hollywood is the hurry up and wait game.
The crowd gasped, the internet exploded, and the whole world couldn't decide. Was he a hero or completely out of line?
He know that Will Smith, Jaden, he Bashir and he Neek Mills, and you know it, Bilal.
Just when everyone thought the chaos couldn't get any wilder, another bomb dropped. A former employee stepped forward with shocking claims and a lawsuit that's got everyone in the industry whispering like never before. This isn't just another round of celebrity gossip. It's a full-blown storm shaking Hollywood to its core.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to talk about something really important. Earlier this year, I was hired to be a performer on a major tour with somebody who is huge in the industry. So I was excited, proud of myself for getting the opportunity. Unfortunately, some things happened, and I can't get into the details of exactly what that was because it's already a legal issue right now. But the reason why I'm speaking out about this is because getting fired or getting blamed or shamed or threatened or anything like that simply for reporting sexual misconduct or safety threats at work is not okay. And I know that there's a lot of other people out there who have been afraid to speak up, and I understand. And if that's you, I see you. And that's pretty much it. More updates to come soon,
Now, the whispers are spreading fast. People are asking if Will Smith's downfall could mirror that of Sean Diddy Combs. The latest reports paint a picture darker and deeper than anyone saw coming. What once was the rise of a global legend is turning into one of the most unpredictable, headline-making falls the industry's ever seen. Fame really can flip in a heartbeat when that spotlight starts to burn too hot. These days, Will Smith's name isn't just tied to blockbuster hits. It's tangled in non-stop controversy that keeps getting darker by the day. The newest allegations have fans wide-eyed and uneasy as whispers of something serious start circling Hollywood. Word on the street says a former employee has hit Will with a lawsuit accusing him of harassment and manipulation. Claims so wild they've got insiders buzzing non-stop. The drama really kicked off back in December when musician Brian King Joseph, that electric violinist known for his crazy high-energy performances, dropped a mysterious video that sent shockwaves online. In the clip, he hinted at being mistreated while working for what he called a massive name in entertainment. That one post set social media on fire, turning fans into full-blown detectives overnight. It didn't take long before people started connecting the dots. Brian had recently been working on Will Smith's 2025 tour project, and the timing lined up way too neatly. The tone, the hints, the vibe, everything pointed in one direction. He never mentioned Will by name, but the message had a chilling edge that made everyone start talking, speculating, and digging for clues. Now the rumor mill is spinning faster than ever.
The hundreds of celebrities that I've done business with, done things with. During the latter years of our relationship, Will was not my friend. I was his friend. I could tell you what goes on the inside. Everybody else is just speculation. And then I've saw facts. that I walked in on.
Who'd you walk in on?
Him and Dwayne Martin. Door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having sex with Will. There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up, killing, like murder. It was there.
Fans and insiders are scrambling to figure out what really went down behind the scenes of that tour. At first, Brian's video barely made a ripple. He wasn't exactly a major public figure, and most people just scrolled past it. But that silence didn't last long. Everything flipped upside down just a few weeks later when Brian officially filed a lawsuit against Will Smith and his production company, Treyball Studios. That's when things exploded across the internet. Headlines popped up everywhere. Fans started choosing sides, and the drama reached a whole new level of intensity. As the new year kicked off, court documents came to light revealing that Brian King Joseph had filed serious allegations against Will Smith and his company, claims that included harassment, wrongful termination, and workplace misconduct. The accusations painted a disturbing picture, outlining what Brian described as a pattern that started back in 2024 when he was hired to work on Will's highly anticipated 2025 tour project.
A violinist is suing Will Smith, claiming retaliation after he alleges that he was fired for reporting sexual harassment while on tour with Smith.
According to the filing, things reportedly started feeling strange not long after Brian joined the team. He claimed that Will began giving him an unusual level of personal attention that didn't seem like normal professional respect. The court papers detailed long rehearsal sessions and late-night private meetings where Will allegedly told Brian they shared a special connection, unlike anything he had with anyone else. At first, Brian brushed it off, thinking it was just the kind of admiration or mentorship that sometimes happens in the industry. But as time went on, he said the energy shifted. The atmosphere around him began to feel tense, uncomfortable, and harder to ignore. That growing discomfort reached its breaking point during a huge tour stop in Las Vegas in March 2025.
And King Joseph filed the lawsuit in California earlier this week, accusing Smith of deliberately grooming him for sexual exploitation.
When Brian returned to his hotel, a room reportedly arranged and paid for by Will's own production team, he claimed something immediately felt wrong. The moment he stepped inside, the air felt heavy, like the vibe had completely changed. Nothing looked broken or damaged. No locks were forced, but things were just slightly off. A chair was moved, a bag looked unzipped, and his equipment wasn't exactly where he'd left it. It was the kind of subtle shift that makes your stomach drop, like someone had been there while he was gone. That moment shook him. It wasn't just about tour stress anymore. It felt darker, heavier, and deeply unsettling. According to Brian, that night in Las Vegas marked the point where everything changed. He said that was when he realized something strange and serious was happening behind the scenes. Something that went far beyond normal workplace drama. The mysterious hotel room incident would later become one of the most chilling details in his lawsuit against Will Smith and Treyball Studios, sparking endless questions online and turning an already shocking story into one of Hollywood's most talked about scandals. Earlier that same day, before the eerie scene in that hotel room, something strange had already gone down. Brian's bag, the one holding his room key, had mysteriously disappeared. And here's the wild part. It reportedly vanished while being handled by the tour's own management team. That weird twist later turned into a major clue, possibly explaining how someone could have entered his hotel room without breaking in.
Then,
Who'd you walk in on?
him and Dwayne Martin.
Okay.
Hollywood is the hurry up and wait game.
When Brian finally opened the door that night, what he saw inside sent a cold chill through his body. Scattered around the room were random objects that didn't belong to him. Things that felt out of place, almost like they were planted there on purpose. There was a pack of wipes, an empty beer bottle, a red backpack, hospital discharge papers belonging to a stranger, and even a bottle of HIV medication labeled with someone else's name. Each item felt deliberate, as if someone wanted him to find them and feel rattled. But the most bone-chilling part came next. A handwritten note sitting right in the middle of the table. Whatever was written on that paper turned an already bizarre situation into something straight up terrifying. The note read, "Brian, I'll be back no later than 5:30, just us." And at the bottom, there was a tiny heart drawn next to the words. That one detail made the whole thing feel twisted and deeply unsettling. According to Brian, the message felt personal. Not like a prank or misunderstanding, but like a warning of what could have come next. Shocked and scared, he said he immediately reached for his phone, contacting hotel security, calling the local non-emergency police line, and even alerting Will Smith's representatives about what had just happened. When hotel security finally checked the surveillance footage, the mystery got even stranger. There were no signs of forced entry, nothing broken, no suspicious outsiders caught on camera. But what they did find made everyone's stomach drop. The footage allegedly showed several members of Will Smith's own management team entering and leaving Brian's room throughout the day. That discovery changed everything. It meant whoever had been inside that hotel room wasn't some random intruder. It was someone connected to the tour itself. The revelation sent a shock through everyone involved and added another dark layer to an already disturbing situation.
He know that Will Smith, Jaden, he Bashir and Neat Mills, and you know it, Bilal.
According to the lawsuit, things took an even darker turn once Brian confronted the team about what the hotel footage showed. Instead of taking him seriously, one of the staff members allegedly flipped the story on him, accusing Brian of making the whole thing up. He said he was humiliated, dismissed, and made to feel like speaking out was the worst move he could have made. Not long after that confrontation, he was told the tour was moving in a different direction, and just like that, his spot was gone, replaced by another violinist almost overnight. In his legal filing, Brian claimed that none of it was random. Not the missing bag, not the strange hotel room, not even the sudden firing. He believed it was all connected, part of what he described as a manipulative setup hidden beneath the glitzy surface of a high-profile Hollywood tour. To him, it wasn't just bad luck or miscommunication. It was a pattern, one that revealed a disturbing side of fame most fans never get to see. According to Brian's account in the lawsuit, this wasn't your typical workplace drama. He claimed it went way beyond that, into something far more calculated and twisted. Brian alleged that the entire situation wasn't just about unprofessional behavior, but about control, power, and influence being used in ways that blurred the line between mentorship and manipulation. He said that from the start, he felt like he was being broken into the industry, a phrase that sent chills through anyone reading the documents. It wasn't just about music or performing. It was about the pressure, the quiet control, and the feeling that saying no could end everything. Brian claimed that what he experienced reflected the kind of hidden truth people in Hollywood whisper about, but never say outright, that certain rising stars are allegedly pressured to compromise themselves to climb higher. He reportedly believed that if he had gone along with what he described as Will's manipulative behavior, his career might have skyrocketed, but the personal cost would have been too heavy to bear. The lawsuit painted a picture that left fans and insiders stunned, a story that took the glamorous image of a superstar tour and cracked it wide open, revealing something much darker underneath. The whole situation instantly reminded the public of another shocking Hollywood scandal, the explosive case involving Rodney Little Rod Jones and Sean Diddy Combs. Just like Brian, Little Rod claimed that Diddy used his star power to get close under the disguise of being a mentor, saying he just wanted to offer career guidance. But behind the scenes, Little Rod alleged that those meetings turned strange, that he was invited to private gatherings where the vibe got uncomfortable fast. He claimed Diddy pressured him to loosen up, cross personal boundaries, and take part in moments that blurred the line between business and something way more personal. In his own accusations, Little Rod said things went too far, claiming he was pushed into disturbing situations that left him shocked and confused. The most haunting detail came when he alleged that one morning he woke up and found Diddy lying beside him. That revelation stunned the public and sent shockwaves through the industry, forcing people to question what really happens behind Hollywood's golden curtain. Brian said that story struck a nerve because his own experience carried eerie similarities. He described his time working on the 2025 tour as deeply uncomfortable and emotionally confusing, saying it left him questioning who he could trust. When he reportedly confronted Will about his growing discomfort, Brian claimed he was met with vague comments that made everything feel worse. Words that reminded him of what Little Rod said Diddy once told him: "It's part of the business." That phrase hit hard because it carried a chilling implication that crossing uncomfortable lines was just the price of making it big. The parallels between Brian's claims and the Diddy controversy were impossible to ignore, and fans online quickly started connecting the dots.
The church, because of these allegations, these things that you...
A whole wide variety of reasons. It isn't a very simple answer. I left because my wife wanted me to, and also because I wasn't making any money, because all the money flows, of course, to my father, always has. I was also tired of the fraud and the deception, plus his deep involvement in personal use of drugs on himself and others, black magic.
When you say black magic, what are you talking about? I mean, some of the things that I read in the stack of material, it sounds just absolutely unbelievable. What are you talking about when you say this?
Well, the funny thing is that the actual truth is about as far out as Scientology itself. Really, the basis of Scientology, which is rather hidden and covered over, is the occult, the deep involvement with satanic powers. He felt that he was deeply involved with a British black magician called Aleister Crowley, and through putting himself in deep hypnotic trances and the use of drugs on himself, he wanted to become the more...
Brian reportedly believed Will's behavior followed that same silent Hollywood blueprint, a slow, psychological pull into a world built on secrecy, influence, and quiet control. But unlike others who may have stayed silent, Brian said he recognized the pattern early and refused to play along. Instead, he took his story to court before things could spiral any further. In his lawsuit, Brian claimed Will's actions weren't random at all. He believed everything was carefully planned. He described how Will allegedly worked to make him feel valued, chosen, and unique among everyone else on the tour. The attention felt flattering at first, but over time, Brian said it became clear that it wasn't about mentorship. It was about testing loyalty and compliance. That's why the mysterious handwritten note in his hotel room hit him so hard. Brian believed it wasn't just a creepy coincidence. It was a calculated move, a test to see how far he'd go if the situation ever crossed the line. According to his lawsuit, he saw it as the final red flag, proof that what was happening behind closed doors wasn't just about fame or opportunity, but about power, control, and manipulation hidden behind Hollywood's bright lights. In his court filing, Brian described that handwritten note as the exact moment everything clicked, the turning point where he realized this so-called mentorship wasn't what it seemed at all. He claimed it was the night everything changed, saying the Las Vegas incident might have been what insiders secretly call an initiation night. According to the lawsuit, that phrase referred to a rumored club within the entertainment world, an exclusive, secretive circle where people are allegedly tested, pushed past their personal boundaries, and promised access to fame, fortune, and elite connections in return. Brian claimed that if he had stayed quiet and gone along with it, the rewards would have been huge. More exposure, new opportunities, and a guaranteed seat at Hollywood's inner table. But instead, he said he chose to walk away and reveal what he believed was a dark truth hiding behind the glitz, fame, and flawless smiles of showbiz. He didn't just walk away, he took a stand. Instead of keeping silent, Brian said he reported everything he experienced, from the missing bag to the hotel incident, straight to the proper channels. But soon after, things shifted fast. His position on the tour was gone, replaced without warning. Now he's fighting back in court, filing a lawsuit against Will Smith and his production company for wrongful termination, harassment, and emotional distress. In the documents, Brian claimed the entire ordeal left deep scars. He said he's been battling PTSD and severe anxiety ever since, symptoms that still affect his day-to-day life long after the tour ended. But according to him, this legal battle isn't about chasing money or headlines. It's about pulling back the curtain on what he believes is a hidden pattern of power, manipulation, and silence that's been running through the entertainment world for years. He said he wants the truth to come out. No filters, no cover-ups, just the raw reality of what happens when fame and control collide. Will Smith's legal team, however, came out swinging with a strong, confident denial. Their official statement read, "Mr. Joseph's allegations concerning my client are false, baseless, and reckless. They are categorically denied, and we will use all legal means available to address these claims and ensure that the truth is brought to light." The response was clean, polished, and professional, exactly what you'd expect from a team defending one of Hollywood's most powerful names. But even with that statement, the internet's reaction didn't cool down. The drama had already exploded, and now everyone's watching to see what happens next. But that official statement didn't silence the chatter, not even close. The The moment Will Smith's legal team spoke out, the internet lit up again. Critics and fans pointed out how familiar that denial sounded. The wording, the tone, even the structure. It all echoed what so many other stars have said when faced with serious allegations. It felt almost rehearsed, and people online weren't shy about saying it. Many immediately drew comparisons to Sean Diddy Combs and the scandal surrounding his ex, Cassie. Just like Will's camp, Diddy's team had come out strong, calling Cassie's lawsuit false and outrageous. But only a day later, the story took a wild turn. Diddy quietly settled the case behind closed doors for what insiders claimed was tens of millions of dollars. That move shocked the public and left everyone questioning why someone would pay out that much if everything was supposedly baseless. Then came the real bombshell: the leaked hotel surveillance footage. The video appeared to show a violent confrontation between Diddy and Cassie, matching almost exactly what she described in her lawsuit. The internet went into total chaos. Overnight, public opinion flipped, and fans began wondering how many of these polished denials were really just damage control hiding behind fancy legal language. Now, as Will Smith's situation continues to unfold, people are watching every detail like hawks, wondering if more evidence might surface, and if this could trigger yet another Hollywood reckoning. Every new update seems to add another spark to the fire, and fans can't help but ask if there's more to the story than what's being said. But the controversy surrounding Will doesn't stop at the lawsuit. It runs even deeper. Another rumor that's followed him for years has roared back into the spotlight, stirring up fresh chaos across social media. It's the long-circulated talk about Will's alleged attraction to men, something that's been whispered about in Hollywood for ages, but resurfaced in full force in late 2023. That's when one of Will's former personal assistants stepped forward with shocking claims that sent the internet into a frenzy. During an interview with Tasha K, the ex-assistant alleged that he had personally witnessed an intimate encounter between Will Smith and actor Dwayne Martin. The accusation hit like a lightning bolt. Social media exploded overnight. Some fans refused to believe a word of it, calling it pure gossip meant to tear a man down. Others, though, said the claim finally connected years of whispers and blind items that had never quite faded away. The assistant insisted his story was true, saying Hollywood hides far more behind closed doors than anyone outside could ever imagine. That one interview flipped everything. It reignited old speculation and layered another controversy onto Will's already complicated public image. Suddenly, his name wasn't just tied to lawsuits and public drama. It became part of a much bigger conversation about secrets, power, and image in the entertainment world. What once looked like isolated scandals started to feel like pieces of a puzzle, a slow unraveling of a legend's carefully built reputation right in front of the world's eyes. Once those explosive claims hit the internet, Will Smith's camp wasted no time firing back. His representatives moved fast, calling the story flat out false and slamming it as nothing more than a desperate stunt for attention. Both Will and Jada Pinkett Smith went public to shut it down, calling the accusations ridiculous and insisting that the person behind them was just chasing clout and cash. In their official statement, the Smiths even hinted they were preparing to take legal action for defamation, though as of now, no lawsuit has actually appeared in court records. Still, the denials didn't stop the online chatter. Commentators instantly pointed out how familiar the response sounded: the firm tone, the polished phrasing, and the rapid-fire damage control. People couldn't help comparing it to Sean Diddy Combs' earlier responses when he faced his own wave of allegations. Diddy, too, had issued confident denials before his controversy spiraled out of control, and that parallel made fans question if these statements were just Hollywood's go-to playbook for crisis control. Whether coincidence or pattern, one question kept echoing across social media: how much truth is hiding behind those carefully crafted press releases? The internet went wild with theories. Suddenly, whispers were spreading that Will Smith might be living a double life, that the smiling, family man image he'd spent years building could be just a mask hiding something more complex behind the scenes. And when Brian King Joseph's lawsuit surfaced, those rumors only intensified, giving online detectives plenty of fuel to connect dots that may or may not even exist. For longtime fans who followed Will's career from the very start, some said these rumors didn't sound as impossible as they once did. His journey to superstardom had its fair share of chaos long before the fame, long before the red carpets and billion-dollar movies. Before the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air turned him into a household name, Will was already known as the Fresh Prince, the hit-making rapper dropping chart toppers alongside DJ Jazzy Jeff. The duo lived the flashy superstar life. Luxury cars, designer jewelry, big houses, and a taste for the good life that came fast and burned bright. But behind all that shine, the cracks were already forming. Despite making real money, Will admitted later that he blew through his cash just as quickly as it came in. Then came the downfall. His next album tanked hard, the record sales collapsed, and reality came knocking. To make things worse, Will had ignored his taxes during his rise, and the IRS came for every penny, hitting him with a massive back payment bill that nearly wiped him out completely. Overnight, the guy who had been living like a superstar found himself broke, humbled, and desperate for a second chance. That crash would eventually push him toward television and his breakout role on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But even from the start, his story proved one thing. Behind every perfect image, there's always a struggle that never makes the headlines. In an old interview, Will Smith got brutally honest about that rough chapter in his life, admitting, "We released our next album and it was a flop." He called that time one of the hardest moments he'd ever faced, the moment that forced him to rebuild everything from the ground up. That financial crash wasn't just a setback, it became the turning point that pushed him straight into Hollywood, where success often comes with quiet pressure and hidden costs. Some industry insiders claim that's where the real story of Will Smith's rise begins. Not with fame or money, but with the desperate deal he had to make to stay in the game. According to people who followed his journey closely, the entertainment world didn't just offer him a comeback, it demanded a price. They say the industry is full of unspoken rules, where power and opportunity often come wrapped in invisible strings. Will himself has reflected on that chaotic time, admitting that his career nearly crashed before it ever really took off. He once joked about his album's failure, saying, "It didn't go platinum, it went double plastic." That dark humor masked what was really happening behind the scenes. His fame was climbing, but his finances were falling apart fast. Despite the awards and celebrity glow, his bank account was empty, the IRS was circling, and everything he'd built seemed to crumble overnight. In another rare interview, Will explained what it truly felt like to lose it all, saying, "I had spent all my money and I didn't pay the IRS. It wasn't like I was trying to avoid taxes, I just didn't have it." Soon after, the IRS came down hard, seizing his possessions and leaving him with almost nothing but his name and a fading reputation. He said it was one of the strangest and most painful feelings ever, being famous but completely broke. Will laughed about those days later, saying people would spot him riding the city bus and ask, "Aren't you Will Smith?" while he was sitting right next to them. It was humiliating but real, and proof that fame doesn't always mean fortune. Broke, in debt, and unsure of his next move, Will hit rock bottom. It looked like his career was over before it even really began. But from that crash came the comeback of a lifetime, the rebirth that would turn him into one of Hollywood's biggest icons. Still, it's wild to think how close he came to losing it all before the world ever called him the Fresh Prince. If you've been hooked on this wild ride through Will Smith's unbelievable journey, make sure to subscribe for more jaw-dropping Hollywood deep dives, shocking truths, and stories that'll keep you on edge every single day.